removes content to avoid making another game, makes another game anyways. We all remember that 2020 was a wild time. The coof was running rampant, people were working from home, every kid was homeschooled, and for the Destiny community it was about to be hit in both knees with the baseball bat. The fall of 2020 was when the 4th year of Destiny 2 was officially revealed. Stasis, Europa, the Deepstone Crypt, the Return of the Exostranger, and Guardians starting to delve into the deep. There was a lot on the way for sure, but this was all of the good news, with a pretty stinky bunch of bad news in the Destiny content vault, aka the start of sunsetting in Destiny 2. Before we get into it, quick little ask for all of you watching. I've messed around with my audio software a little bit more, and I think I got it to a point similar to what it is like before the update changed everything, but I noticed that the overall volume of videos are quieter, so please let me know in the comments down below. Is it too quiet, too loud, needs a little more volume? Please just go ahead and let me know. I would greatly appreciate any input. We all know what sunsetting is, but for the folks living under rocks, sunsetting and the Destiny content vault was introduced for a few Bungie reasons. Reducing the overall size and complexity of Destiny 2 so development could be easier for the future, because Bungie wasn't making Destiny 3 at this point, but rather running Destiny 2 as far as it could go. They did this by, quote, cycling older, less actively played content out of the live game and into the DCV. The content in question was a pretty large portion of the game. Locations of Mars, Io, Titan, Mercury, and Leviathan were all removed, including any of the attached activities, adventures, public events, strikes, raids, even including the campaigns present in each region. So if you considered seasons like chapters in the book of Destiny 2, sunsetting removed chapters 1, 2, and 3 from a story with 12 chapters at the time. So anyone joining the community at this point are missing a vital part of the story, the beginning. In addition to all that, some things not so region dependent were also stuffed into a bag and forgotten, like the Black Armory raid Scourge of the Past and the exotic mission 0 Hour that all took place in the last city, a region obviously not vaulted. The Reckoning and the Prophecy dungeon were all in 9 space, and vaulted even if Prophecy was a temporary removal from the start, and 9 space wasn't being removed, just these activities. And that's not even talking about the gear rewards. Every single weapon, armor piece, sparrow, shader, whatever it was, if it was from a specific location, you better not dismantle it, because you won't ever get it again. Not to mention, weapons were given a light limit. Essentially, a weapon was given a light cap that allowed it to be infused up to power for the next 4 seasons of Destiny, but after that, no longer could it be infused higher. Intended as a way to shake up the sandboxes by having weapons attached to a aging season rotate out as a new season's arsenal made landfall, this fell flat when weapon selection was lacking diversity after Beyond Light, and backlash over these light caps resulted in this particular feature being undone 2 seasons after it was implemented. Sadly, this wasn't completely undone. While weapons wouldn't be light capped for the future, any gear from seasons 9 or prior, outdated and useless in activities with a current light requirement, and didn't change till Final Shape, aka season 24. Years later, when light caps were removed across the board, then the portal happened, and more on that later. Now the grand question: how did Bungie lie when it came to the Destiny content vault? Well, in the article posted on the Bungie site and still available today, link in the description, Bungie listed the DCV as including all content from Destiny 1 in addition to the content removed from Destiny 2. Honestly, this was something real stupid to say, since content from Destiny 1 were activities from a completely separate game. It's not like the Vault of Glass existed in Destiny 2 prior to its release in Season of the Splicer. I'm fairly certain they labeled it this way to excuse this little tidbit of Bungie stating they would unvault activity and destination content from the DCV every year. Let's unpack that by first evaluating what else was vaulted after the initial mass vaulting. For starters, the Tangled Shore was another location that was removed with the Witch Queen DLC. This also meant another variety of gear no longer available, destination activities, quests, and more strikes removed from active status. With the story of Forsaken being heavily fractured, it seemed like there was a lot removed from Destiny 2, and that's before talking about seasons. To put it simply, practically every single season between Season 8 and 26 has also been vaulted either completely or mostly, since some seasons like Season 12's story arc, variety of Wrathborn hunts, and the High Celebrant hunt are all still gone completely, but Season 18 had its activity of expeditions restored in the current day, all while Catch Crash, Pirate Lord hideouts, and the entire story of Season 18 is still fiction. I know Arena Ops coming with Renegades is restoring a few 6-player seasonal activities like Catch Crash, but we know only a few of the many will be reprised come Renegades, with potential for more eventually. Now before we continue, it's worth noting that weapons from past Sunset seasons were regular reprisals, although mostly partial. Take for instance the weapons from Season 6, aka Joker's Wild. Included originally was a hand cannon, sidearm, SMG, scout auto and pulse rifle, shotgun, sniper, sword, and heavy grenade launcher. Alas, when these weapons were returned with Season 21, aka Season of the Deep, the grenade launcher was missing, as was the auto and scout rifle. Granted, those weapons were reprised with Season 11, but at this point they were heavily outdated. Another update could have been appropriate. This happened often, a original set having maybe 8 or 9 weapons, and the reprisal having 6 or less. Regardless, this is irrelevant nowadays since the portal and tiers didn't apply to past weapons reprised or otherwise. So even though Final Shape unchained light caps allowing all weapons to be relatively equal, then anything not involved in the portal was less effective by default and wouldn't help get your light past a very low point. Now, what has been restored from the Destiny content vault? So far, exotic missions are the most abundant of Destiny 2 reprised activities. The Whisper, Zero Hour, and Presage namely were the missions gone for an extended period of time and restored later. A few others like Operation Seraph Shield and Avalon were at one point removed but restored within a season's time, if at all removed, period. Alas, there were still missions like Hawkmoon's Harbinger mission among others that just haven't been restored, period. In terms of strikes, none that were sunset have ever been restored. There is no soft way to put it. Bungie removed 9 strikes between Year 4 and 5 sunsetting, only releasing 6 original strikes in the 4 years since Beyond Light. This is not counting strike reworks like updated Lake of Shadows or the strikes pulled from Destiny 1, those being the Disgraced, Devil's Lair, Fallen Saber, and the Sunless Cell. And while yes, Battlegrounds were added back into the strike playlist after being absent for some time, Bungie did that as a hollow replacement of the removed strikes. Crucible and Gambit had a few maps returned from the Abyss, but it kind of never made sense to sunset any of the PvP maps anyways, especially considering that a few surviving maps were on sunset planets but were not sunset with them, so the moon or planet is gone along with everything attached, but the Crucible map is eternal. Logic. I mentioned earlier how a few seasonal activities have been remade current, and this is true, but it has been a slow process. Of the dozens of seasonal activities sunset so far, the portal does have Savathûn Spire from Season 22, the Coil from Season 23, Expeditions from Season 18, and technically the Contest of Elders from Season 25, but that was gone for like 2 months max. Starting to sound like a broken record, I know, but there are still so many other activities available for restoration. I covered this topic in a separate video, be sure to check that out if you want the full list of details. That is pretty much the grand sum of Destiny 2 original content that has been revived from the dead, not counting limited time cosmetics made available at a later date or the content from Destiny 1, which should not be considered part of the Destiny content vault anyways, but I digress. Now, mayhaps I misinterpreted what Bungie meant when they said they would unvault activities and destination content from the content vault every year, but considering how much was removed at the start of Year 4 and the amount of so far restored content maybe equaling 15% of the removed content just at Year 4, if it was compared to content removed by Year 8, it would look more like 5% restored compared. Plus, a point of conflict often between Destiny versus Warframe or Bungie versus Digital Extremes has been that Warframe never removed any large chunks of the game. I hear from more dedicated Mastery Rank 33 players that things removed were things that just generally didn't work, like the first iteration of janky wall running, raids. Things really either didn't land or didn't work flat out. Meanwhile, Bungie excised massive portions of their games, not because they were broken or never working right, because something was less relevant and they couldn't handle the coding. Even though Warframe is a flat out older game. Like, Warframe came out before Destiny 1 and is still going. Anyways, enough Warframe, back to Bungie's failures. Every destination and patrol location that was removed is still largely gone. Even when Mars was returned 3 in-game years ago, we only visited the planet on some 4 occasions: Witch Queen's Opening, Vox Obscura, Spire of the Watcher, and Heist Battleground Mars. Titan returned, but again, only visited for a dungeon and a now seasonal sunset activity. Every raid, aka the activity Bungie hosts world-first races around, further develops the story through and is generally the pinnacle of Bungie activity design, at least in their mind. Every single raid we lost access to is still gone. Every single piece of easily accessed world building is now found outside of Destiny 2, with multiple strikes, seasonal storylines, and full DLC campaigns seemingly unavailable for the foreseeable future. And this was all before the portal happened, that made an even larger portion of the game irrelevant. It should be a wake-up call for those that still have trust in Bungie right now, that their trust is truly misplaced. Red War, Curse of Osiris, Warmind, Forsaken, Black Armory, Joker's Wild, Penumbra, and 99% of seasonal content Bungie has put out just to give it a temporary lifetime. All of this and more, paid content or otherwise, removed so Bungie could avoid making Destiny 3, just for Bungie to allegedly start making it years too late. The irony with Bungie lately has been hilarious. Removes content to avoid making another game, makes another game anyways. Claims removing all the content will reduce maintenance and improve innovation, but Destiny 2 is more bug-infested than ever, and innovation is what led to the failed Edge of Fate changes and Bungie admitting failure, that they tried to innovate too much. Claim that Destiny 1 content is part of the DCV, but every location save for the moon and the Cosmodrome is still yet to be reprised in the same light it had in Destiny 1. And of course, the last raid to be reprised is still nowhere in sight. So Bungie has lost the trust of the community and needs to build it back. What can they do? Well, on a semi-serious note, I say all the budget dedicated to overfilling Eververse every update needs to be reorganized into other departments. On a more serious note, Portal Grind has got to go bye-bye. The idea of Arena Ops restoring 6-player seasonal activities and other ideas like seasonal activity, battleground, or seasonal and campaign story mission playlists are solid, but forcing all players to play activities as hard as possible, not the way to go. On another serious note, Bungie needs to put actual effort into unvaulting as much content as possible. Strikes, raids, patrol zones, crucible maps, campaigns, seasonal stories, and activities. All of it. We all know Bungie tried claiming Red War was something beyond restoration, but if Bungie really wants to earn back trust, putting out the extra effort is a start. Be it reforming Destiny 2 into a maze of content filled with 8 years of a game, or starting fresh with Destiny 3 and fixing everything there. In like 5 years if Bungie's usual development timeline is taken into account. And if Bungie is still around in 2 years, let alone 5. All that being said, this rant is over. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving break. My name is the Mad Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.